All right, gentlemen. I know I talk fast, but I feel like I have to talk even faster this week because we have a lot to get to. We've got maybe the biggest game in the area this year, this week in week 6. We've got a whole bunch of district games, 6 of them in total. We have 5 all local games. We have 8 games total, and the FHSAA rankings just dropped Tuesday morning. Do I have all that correct? Everybody get all that?
I got all that.
We're good.
This is Quick Slant from the Daytona Beach News Journal. I'm Chris Vanell. I'm joined as always by Chris Boyle and Zach Allen. We're going to kind of shape this show around DeLand at Spruce Creek because that's such a titan showdown. But of course, we'll touch on a whole bunch of other games in our quick hitter segment. I want to start, though, by running down the list, just kind of the top ranked teams in the area as deemed by the FHSAA and their computer formula. So Spruce Creek is the top team in the area. By one spot, they are ranked number 3 in the entire state. DeLand's 4. So that's kind of the stakes we're working with as we enter this matchup this week. Following them, Mainland is 46th, New Smyrna Beach is 86th, Daytona is 186th, and rounding out the local teams in the top 200 is Matanzas at 196. So that's kind of what we're looking at here. A lot of that looks pretty similar to the way that our local power rankings have looked so far this year. But yeah, guys, like definitely some interesting stuff, and we'll monitor that going forward. I will stop talking here. I'm going to turn it over to you guys. We've got DeLand at Spruce Creek. Last year, Spruce Creek won that game 48-13. I don't expect that to be a 35-point game this year, and I don't think you guys do either. We're each going to go around and give just kind of our keys to the game for each team. And Chris, I'll start with you. What are you looking for in this awesome one?
Well, sadly, I'm going to be in the middle of the country, so I won't get to see it with my own 2 eyes. But let's look at this matchup real quick. For me, I'll start with Spruce Creek, and what's the key to keeping a really, in the sense of DeLand, I think keeping them low scoring, I don't think necessarily is solely a defensive proposition. I think they have to have the ball. I think you have to keep that offense on the sideline. They've been so efficient and so dominant running the football. Just keep them situated over there. And with as many players as DeLand is trying to use offensively and defensively, the longer they're on the field having to try to stop the Hawks, could tire them out as the game goes on. I think ball control, is a really important element to this game for Spruce Creek, in addition to, of course, their 2 defensive tackles, and the whole unit effort stopping the run. As for DeLand, I think ball security is important. They turned it over a few times last week, even though they won pretty convincingly against Daytona. Just don't make it easy for Spruce Creek, and don't allow them to really control the clock and control the ball. I think those are going to be, to me, the biggest elements of this game, for DeLand protecting the football and for Spruce Creek keeping hold of it.
By the way, let's go further into the stakes of this game. These are the last 2 undefeated teams in the Volusia-Flagler area, so there will only be one after this game. And the winner of this game is firmly in the driver's seat in terms of District 2-7A. So the winner,
and maybe
of this game,
for the region too, for the number 1 seed in the region.
Yeah. I mean, right now, Spruce Creek is number 2 in all of 2A in the rankings. DeLand, obviously, number 3, being right behind Spruce Creek. Zach, we turn to you. Keys to the game for this one.
Yeah. This could even be a game for number 1 in the state as well. Who knows what their computer system might churn out after this week. But I think I'll start with Spruce Creek. We've been talking about their D-line all season, and they, at some point, have to keep DeLand behind schedule. Like, if DeLand has a false start at some point, you can't just let them go and get an 8-yard run and then it's second and manageable, because they will play some dirty, grimy, sick football and just run the whole game. DeLand's a team that obviously has one of the most potent rushing games in the state, but offenses in
You could just say
general.
most potent offense.
Yeah, just offense
I
in
think
general.
dirty and grimy comes with a negative connotation too. That offense when it's working is beautiful to watch.
It's fun, and it's fun.
Trying to guess who's
rarely,
got the football. It looks beautiful at times.
It's very rarely dirty and grimy. Usually it's like 4 plays and they're in the end zone and you blink and you're like you don't even know what happened. But I can see if with the talent Spruce Creek has, if they're just chipping away 4 yards of rush, 5 yards of rush, and it's like 3rd and short, I'm sure they have no problem doing so. And so I think, they need to make Gardner Norman make some plays at QB, force them to pass a little bit and just get off the field, which kind of goes with what you said, Boyle, so their offense can take over. And for DeLand, it comes down to their defense. They had a great showing last week against Daytona, shut them out. And the classic battle of the bone. First week of the season, they gave up 20 points to Madison County, but there have been times where it looked like DeLand's defense last year. They have a 57-51 win over Merritt Island. They can't do that against Spruce Creek and expect to win, especially when Spruce Creek has Cam Oxendine. And so I think they, especially in the secondary, need to get their communication down. Just make sure, limit their mistakes, limit the explosive plays, and just try and get their offense back on the field.
And part of that defense or that defensive tinkering is just continuing to tinker with that secondary. Gardner Norman, DeLand's quarterback, played some defensive back last week. He almost picked off 2 passes. I was at that game versus Daytona. It was their first shutout in 3 years, only their second in the 4-year Rick Darlington era. He said it's maybe the best defensive performance during his tenure. He couldn't remember kind of in the moment another one that was that dominant. Their offense kind of struggled that first half with some penalties, with some turnovers, but definitely got it clicking in that second half. I think it's going to be really interesting to watch the 2 quarterbacks because, we've talked about the run games for these teams. We've talked about the defensive lines for these teams. DeLand, even when they struggle on defense, has been pretty good against the run most of the time. And that goes back, several years, not just this year. But last year, PJ Miller went off for Spruce Creek. He had 190 yards and 3 touchdowns rushing in the 48-13 win over DeLand last year. And then he added another 182 yards and a touchdown through the air. That can't happen again if you're DeLand. Now, same thing goes for Spruce Creek. Like, they're going to sell out for the run, right? That's what the single wing offense is predicated on, that DeLand runs. They've got so many talented playmakers that they just like to get their ball in the ball in their hands quickly. Last week, Gardner Norman was pretty efficient, 8 of 11 for 122 yards and 2 touchdowns through the air. Again, like, Spruce Creek can't just sell out for that run. And then when you don't sell out for the run, well, there goes Tage Moore, there goes Marcellus Carey. So, Chris, I think you alluded to it. Like, this could be what was your quote? Get out the abacus.
I can't ever take credit for that. It's a Chris Berman thing. Get out your abacus game.
Yeah. It could be another one of those. I'm just excited for these 2 teams to go at it. It's going to be a good one. It's going to be fun. Any other notes on that before we go to quick hitters? All right, let's do it. Matanzas at Mainland. We go from one game we kind of anticipate being a district title game to another one here. This is a Thursday night game, so both teams are on shorter rest than usual. Matanzas suffered that loss last week to Seabreeze, where they kind of looked, they looked rough on offense in terms of turnovers and that sort of thing. Seabreeze's defense really turned those miscues into offense. And then Mainland's coming off a kind of a hard-fought win up in Georgia. So 2 teams, we anticipate them being the 2 district, the 1 and 2 in their district. What are you looking for here, Chris? I turn to you for this one.
Yeah, I think we'll see about the passing game for both of these teams. I think obviously the turnovers last week were critical for Matanzas. They allowed Seabreeze to score twice defensively, and that was really the entire key of the game. I know they had the big long offensive drive there late in the game, but those are backbreakers. Those defensive scores, and they happen against you. Looking at Mainland, I mean, again, that passing game right now is really well rounded. They had 5 guys split 16 receptions last week for 275 yards. Chris Butler and Caden Flores each caught touchdowns. They did so against Spruce Creek as well. Braylon Simmons had 107 rushing yards, so I think he missed a little bit of time in that game against Spruce Creek. But yeah, all things considered, I think Mainland has done a good job of winning games that they lost last year. They've done a good job of kind of getting their get back, and I think with Matanzas coming up here, I expect that they're going to keep rolling, and they're going to be able to build on what they did a week ago up in Georgia.
Next one, New Smyrna Beach at Seabreeze. Another district matchup. Zach, what are you looking for here?
Yeah, I'm just curious to see if Seabreeze's defense is basically going to be their offense. They've scored more points on defense and special teams this season than
they're
their
like the
offense
06
has.
Chicago Bears is what they are.
Yeah, they've scored 28 defensive points and 24 offensive points. So that's kind of the team you're looking at. I know I called DeLand, if it's an extended drive, it's dirty, grimy. The direct quote Mike Klein gave me after their win against Matanzas was, "We don't mind playing grimy football," and that they actually set a goal to at least have a 10-play drive every game. Obviously, like Boyle alluded to, they had a 17-play drive that almost took a full quarter last week. And so if they're able to play the style of football they want to, where it's just shut them down on defense, score once or twice on offense, and it's like 14-10, that's what they want to do. And I think conversely, New Smyrna Beach has looked great the last few weeks. They've rebounded from their loss against DeLand. Todd Cutler Jr.'s had 3 straight games of 100 rushing yards. Cole Engler has looked good at times, and I mean, it's like two opposites kind of attracting here in terms of how they want to play. I mean, I'm sure that's not to say New Smyrna wants to go out and be like a 50-40 shootout, but they want to score points. Seabreeze wants to slow it down. I mean, frankly, we've underestimated Seabreeze, I think, so far this season. I don't think any of us picked them beating Matanzas. And
oh no, they let us know about it too. From what I'm told.
Yeah, Mike Klein came. The first thing he said to me was, "What were your score predictions?" So,
thanks for reading the paper, Mike.
We'll wear those. We'll wear those. We're wrong.
I still stand with my reasoning. It was just wrong at the end of the day. So I mean, but so the style of play, Seabreeze can stay in it with anybody. I think they have the potential to.
Yeah, and New Smyrna Beach, the offense has been good the last couple of weeks. That defense has allowed 10 points in the last 3 games, including a shutout against Crescent City last week. So this is another test for them. Hey, we kind of hold Seabreeze at bay? And for Seabreeze, like we've talked about it too, that defense, they're well coached. They're going to play hard, every week. They're going to make plays. And if they can put together some 10-minute long drives like they did last week, they're going to have success.
There'll be a little extra motivation for Mike Klein too. He's a New Smyrna grad, so I know this is a game he's going to want. They lost 35-6 last year, but I know that there's going to be some extra fuel to try to get that one done.
The exact stats on that drive were 17 plays, 60 yards, 11 minutes, 28 seconds. By the way, so
that's electric. I love it. Yeah, this should be another good one. I'm excited for it. Zach, I'll stick with you here for Halifax at Taylor. Taylor's rolling right now, and has the potential to continue that streak. And Halifax still looking for their first win of the year. So I'll turn it over to you here.
I mean, obviously Halifax is looking for the win, but I think we need to take some steps before that might happen. They've scored 6 points all season, so I think they're going to try and win, but I think even in a loss, if you're the Halifax coach, you want to see at least double-digit points here if you can, just so you break that, that threshold. And then for Taylor, this is for 3 wins in a row. If they win this, will have a winning record. They beat Bronson 2 weeks ago. And then Young Kids in Motion last week. But they're rolling. Nico Dozier, I think, or I know, had 5 touchdowns last week. Usually it's the James Thomas show, their quarterback, who's kind of an athlete of sorts. So I'm interested to see what they do. And as Coach Williams calls it, the Jimmies and the Joes. We'll see what their Jimmies and Joes do against Halifax.
Taylor, they win this one, they'll carry that momentum into the bye. Halifax is coming out of its bye, so it has had 2 weeks to prepare for this one. They played some tough teams. They played some. They lost to Satellite. They played Seabreeze. This kind of over the next couple of weeks, who do they have here? They've got Taylor. They've got Baker County, Duval Charter, Father Lopez, and Geneva to round out the season. So, those under the last few weeks. Next game, Daytona at Rockledge. This is another district game, and Daytona has kind of centered their season around like, hey, we want to win a district championship. Matt Martin says every time I talk to him, it's never something that's never been done here. They believe that they have a group that can challenge for that spot. No better spot than here because Rockledge is the defending district champion. And so obviously Daytona's lost their last 2 after a 2-0 start. They'll be looking to get back on the right track here. And one last game for you, University at Flagler Palm Coast, another district contest, another all-local contest. Chris, what are you looking for here?
Another couple of teams out of a bye too. I think for Flagler, I don't know this, but I'm guessing the quarterback situation, certainly from a health standpoint, they got to make sure that they know what they've got. I know it's been a struggle for them offensively this year. Since week 1, they've only scored 7 points in each of their last 2 games, a couple of tough ones at Mainland and at Lake Brantley. University got off to a kind of a promising start this year. They won their kickoff classic, pretty dramatic fashion. They came from behind to beat Sebastian River in the opener. Their last 3 games.
Again, dramatic fashion.
Yeah, again, dramatic fashion. Their last 3 games, they've struggled defensively. They've given up 43, 34, and 35. So we'll see if they kind of correct those issues. I think these are going to be 2 teams that just really, really want to win this football game. I mean, we know the top of this district is really, really strong with DeLand and Spruce Creek. These teams are going to see an opportunity to get off on the right foot here in district play, at least give themselves a shot, right? You want to give yourself an opportunity to play whoever wins that game and keep your hopes alive, whether it's for the title or certainly as an at-large for the playoffs.
Gentlemen, that was a fun show, and it's going to be a fun Thursday when we start it with Mainland Matanzas. So we'll have you covered. Chris will, of course, be in the middle of the heartland, but Zach and I will be around here. So this has been Quick Slant from the Daytona.
Hey, John's going to be here too. Don't forget, John Santucci will be on site for Spruce Creek and DeLand. He's our network's recruiting reporter. He's a terrific, that's on top of it as anybody in the game when it comes to recruits, and he will be at that game. Two of the best teams in the state.
Well, that's the thing. Like, it's not just us who have this game circled. The state has this game circled this week. So it's going to be a good one. All right, gents. I'll see you next week.